I'm going to
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Ask the Experts podcast. We are grateful to each and every one of you who tune in week and week out to listen, learn, and grow. Today's show is going to be phenomenal. I have an amazing guest today, Sifu Rafael, who's going to be sharing insights about his journey, how he has helped people, individuals to gain clarity through communication, leadership. So we're going to dive deep into Sifu Rafael's journey. Sifu Rafael is a master instructor, entrepreneur, and he is the founder of Speaking Prowess, where he helps individuals through communication and leadership to unlock their full potential. With over 50 years of experience, Sifu Rafael has impacted individuals through his 7 global live shows, whereby he's transformed and risen people to become stronger physically, mentally, and emotionally. Now, Sifu Rafael's mission is simple yet powerful. Sifu Rafael is on a mission, he's on a quest to help people to gain clarity and to gain clarity in their voice, but also to help them to transform their lives inside and out. Welcome, everybody, to Ask the Experts podcast, Sifu Rafael.
Wow, what a pleasure. Where do I send the check? That was such a great introduction.
You can send it after the show.
There you go. There you go. I appreciate you. And you did mention that I have 7 shows, and I'm so fortunate that you were on some as well. And I know you're
Absolutely.
probably coming on some more, so I am blessed to know you, my friend.
Absolutely. Likewise, I return back the favor. I've been on your shows, which is why I wanted to return that favor to you, Sifu Rafael. You are extraordinary. First of all, I just want to start off with acknowledging you because you are such an extraordinary human being that whatever you have done, the businesses that you have cultivated, you've impacted so many people through so many lives that you have changed. It is incredible. And absolutely, I was on your show. I was on the Speaking Prowess. I can't remember countless how many other shows I was on, but you are such an amazing person to know. So I'm grateful to you, Sifu. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The feeling is mutual because you actually, we got to know you during that show, and we became a little bit closer. And every time we have a conversation, I think it just deepens the connection. And I believe that connections are powerful. And you talked about me impacting so many people. And to be honest with you, it's because of the impact that was generated for me. Um, when I was young, I had polio as a kid. I lost the ability to walk, and it was through God that He guided me. And basically, I kind of communicate with Him every day. He's holding my hand everywhere I go, and I always ask Him, "How can I be uh, better?" Because He's given me so many gifts that I can't hoard those gifts. I got to give them back. So I ask him for the grace that I can please allow me to share my gifts that he's given me with my brothers and sisters. And that's what I live with every day. How can I help? That is my mission.
That is such a powerful mission. And, absolutely, I do agree with you. When you have God by your side, the higher power, creator, whatever, you wish to call it. But as long as we have God with us, and it is so beautiful how you communicate with the higher power to give you the higher power so that you can lead the mission that you want to lead. So, that is so beautiful. And I really want to just acknowledge you, first of all, on that. So, Sifu, can you share with us your backstory? What inspired you to, have the businesses that you have today, the success that you have? What inspired you? Can you share with us so that we can get to know you a bit more?
Sure. So, like I said earlier, I had polio, and here's the crazy thing. Nobody told me what I was going through. The doctors didn't tell me, my family didn't tell me. And so I started communicating with God, help me figure a way, let me be strong. So that's when I learned that I couldn't quit. Quitting is not an option for me. Don't get me wrong, we sometimes have to quit certain things in life to move ahead. So I have quit certain jobs that were not elevating me when I was working in corporate, and because they didn't see the gifts that I was sharing. And I'm like, you guys don't see what I have. And it's okay. And I'm here and I'm here and I'm giving, but they didn't accept them. So I said, I got to go somewhere else where my gifts are going to be accepted. And so that's how I moved up the corporate ladder. But I've realized that it's not about money for me, it's about helping. So everywhere, when I show up, I'm not showing up because don't get me wrong, I love going to these incredible rooms where there's incredible people. And I don't want to be the smartest person in the room because
Yeah.
then I'm in the wrong room, right?
Right.
For me, it's always about if I show up in a room and I happen to be one of the smart people in it, I don't want to leave anybody behind. So I want to make sure that everybody in the room elevates. So
Mhm.
that's what has taught me that understanding that quitting is not an option. I've taken that with me everywhere I go. When I take on a new venture, a new business, a new opportunity, I take it with full gusto. I do
Mhm.
not allow it to scare me because fear paralyzes growth.
Yes.
I'll say that again. Fear paralyzes growth. And it's okay to be nervous or anxious. And I always tell my clients, it's okay if you're nervous. If you have butterflies and they go, yeah. I said, good, make them fly in formation.
Yeah.
And instead of being anxious or nervous, turn it to excitement. I'm
Mm.
excited about what's going to happen next. I may not know this, but I love the word yet. That's
Yes.
the biggest word that I love teaching people because I don't know everything and I will never know everything. But if I want to learn a certain subject, I got to get into it. I got to dive in. I may not be an expert today, but give me time
Mhm.
because I will go deep.
Well, as they say, seafood, time is of the essence. And as long as you don't quit, as long as we don't quit,
Mm.
and it's all about the mindset. Would you say it's the mindset that really keeps you stagnant? Is your mindset that really helps you to get ahead in life? And you talked about fear. What is fear? Well, as we know, fear is a false evidence of being real. So it's just in your imagination, right? It's just in your imagination that the fear of public speaking,
Mm.
of communication, as you are the expert of communication. So fear, but you were absolutely 100% right. As long as we don't give up on that mission, on that quest, it is so important to do that. So, Sifu, I'm so glad you're here because as master of the martial arts, you're a fantastic instructor. What discipline do you teach, first of all?
I teach Kung Fu.
Kung
So
Fu.
I teach two styles, and I also teach internal, which is Tai Chi. I also teach internal, which is He Gong, Nei Gong.
Uh-huh. Okay.
And the style of Kung Fu I teach incorporates every aspect of fighting, if you will, from stand up to ground fighting to close quarter fighting to throwing. So weaponry also. So we have to use all of the skills because you never know what you're going to face, right?
That is so true. We don't. But, martial arts is such a form of, it is discipline. And I just want to touch upon, I'm so glad that you're here to share with our audience because as a martial artist, it's all about the mind body connection. And I feel most people in this modern world, they are lacking the discipline and they are lacking the connection. And I know it's an improvement, it's a process that is a learning, it's a teachings that we have to go through to cultivate the discipline, to cultivate the motivation. So I just want to, touch upon this question. So, leading on from the feelings and the mindset, what would you say are the discipline? What would you say are the requirements that people need to cultivate in order to really extend or excel in their lives today in this modern
Mm.
world that we live in?
That's a great, powerful question. I just want to let everybody know that in the martial arts world, we say discipline, we say focus, we say self-esteem, but I've met so many martial artists, instructors who don't live that lifestyle. They live when they have pictures on their walls when they were 18, 20, and they're in great shape. And then you look at them now and they're smoking, they're heavy, they could barely move, but they're not embodying what they teach.
Mm,
And so I think discipline has to be embodied mentally and physically. It can't just be like, oh, yes, I am disciplined, but I'm going to go, and eat unhealthy.
right.
I believe that discipline is a state of mind. You have to negotiate every day because we have choices. We drive down the block and look, fast food here, fast food there. Oh, I smell Dunkin' Donuts. Oh, I smell this. Oh, I smell that. Oh, look what that person is eating. And oh, I want some of that. But you have to make the disciplined decision. And the question that I always ask my food, what are you going to do to me if I eat you? Right? How are you going to take care of this gift that God gave me?
Mhm.
Because this is a gift. I don't take it for granted. The reason I never take it for granted is because I reclaim my ability to walk.
Yes.
This is why I work out every single day. So when we think of discipline, when we think of even the confidence to say no to something,
Mhm.
I think the real vision that we need to have, if today is my last day on this earth, how did I live my life?
That is beautiful. Wow. Mhm.
I don't know when I'm going to go. But on that day, if it is my last day, I want to look back. By the way, Alka, you're invited to my 100th birthday party because I'm having it. We're going to dance. We're going to have fun. We're going to have all these different things. All these other people are going to be there. But if I'm not thinking of having that 100th birthday party, I will not do the things that are going to get me there. My
Right.
great great grandfather will be, he lived to be 113.
Wow.
I'm going to kick his butt.
Amazing. Wow.
I know, I'm going to kick his butt. But here's the thing. One of the reasons I know is because he did not eat processed foods like there is in the
Right.
world.
Yes.
He ate off the land. So he didn't eat things out of a bag or a box or a can.
Mhm.
He ate off the land. And so the more that we can reimagine our lives eating what was meant for us to eat, the healthier we'll live. That's why I also created a program called Sifu's Mind Body Method, where we teach the 7 pillars of health.
Amazing. That is beautiful. But see, but that is so true. Absolutely. Back in the days, our parents, our grandparents, they lived a healthier life. Why? Because everything was fresh and everything was from the land. And now people, we have a lot of processed food that it's kind of damaging our bodies, damaging our minds as a result of what we put in our body is in a direct reflection, hindering your mind. So it is so important. So Sifu, share with us, what are the hindrances that is really affecting people today, why they are lacking, or why they're lacking in the direction if they want to go to maybe start a business, or why are they lacking to improve on their body, to have that physique that they've always wanted. What are the hindrances that are preventing people to take that action, to take that step, pretty much? What
I'm
prevents
gonna
them?
yeah, I'm gonna share something that was pretty profound, that was told to me by one of my clients recently. And he said, "What if we didn't have this body? Would
Mm,
we be male or female?"
wow.
I was deep, and I said, if we can get out of our head and into our body, how should we live our life? We should live our life to sustain this, if you will, carcass, or I prefer to call it a gift from God, and to sustain it in a way that I am keeping my mind sharp. I was up early this morning. I worked out. I did my meditation, my journaling, my praying, and then I did studying. And some of my members, I go, "How was school?" They're like, "I don't go to school." I said, "Well, maybe you should start." Because every day I am studying, because life is my school. I
Mhm,
learn every day. I improve. I know more than I did yesterday. I know way more than I did 10 years ago. And every day I want to continue to grow, both physically and mentally. I don't want to grow physically, I mean outward or upward. I want to grow internally. So our body does regenerate, certain parts regenerate every couple of hours. Our eyeballs regenerate every 48 hours. So there's all these studies that tell us that we do regenerate. But if we're not fueling it correctly,
mhm,
what are we doing? Are
right.
we hurting the process, the natural, God given process that our body goes through? And when we ingest all these things that are going to hurt that process, who are we to blame?
Mm, right. Exactly.
Every day, every day. This is why I created the seven pillars. And can I share those with you?
Absolutely. Yes. Go ahead. Yes.
So one, and we talked about it, is mindset, right? Then we have movement. Then we have nutrition. We have hydration. We have journaling. We have fasting. And currently, right now, last meal I ate was yesterday at 7 p.m. Right now it's 1 p.m. I'm sorry, it's 2 p.m. So I haven't eaten. All I've done is drank. Right now I am sharp. I am alert. I am powered, energized. And it's the food that I ate yesterday that is doing that. My body is breaking it down and using it the right way. But prior to that, I had been on a 27-hour fast. I'm not going to eat today till probably 22 hours, right?
Wow.
But the food I eat has a purpose. I'm going to
Mm,
fuel this crazy machine that God gave me, this beautiful machine. And the final step to my process, Sifu's body method, is the seventh one, is spiritual. So
mm,
whatever you believe, whether you believe in God or the universe, whatever it is, you need that. You need to believe in something higher than you. Otherwise, how can we become better if we don't believe in something higher than us?
absolutely. That is so true. And the higher power, God, or the creator, wants us to become better, because That's what he wants. And it would be such a shame if we don't fall for that. So, Sifu, I just want to touch upon what you mentioned. If you're not growing, and as individuals, we are growing or we want to grow, we should grow every single day. We should improve on our lives. And the measure that I do anyhow, who was I yesterday? What did I do yesterday? And if we can start to improve that 1% every day, would you say these are the steps that you have taken for your success, to have the measure as to where are you today, where do you need to go, and what are those steps that we need to? Could you share with us the principles that you have lived by, and what do you do to get to have the success that you are having?
I appreciate that question. Thank you so much. Alka, I got to tell you, deep thought out question. So I appreciate that very much. Think about purpose. What's my purpose here? I know my purpose. My
Mm,
purpose is to help as many people as I possibly can. And if I start that way every single day, then
yes.
I have to take care of that here, my mind. I start every day with prayer and then I thank God and thank you for the gifts. Please allow me to share them with my brothers and sisters. So when we start thinking about preparing our day, we should prepare our day. If you allow someone else to do it, you're not going to be happy because
Mm,
we already have everything pulling at us. If you can imagine social media, if it had a thread, there'd be 1,000, maybe 10,000 threads pulling on me. And then families over here pulling, and then somebody else is here pulling, friends, uh, relationships, businesses. So all of a sudden you're this puppet with all these strings pulling at you. We need to cut the strings. We
mm,
need to do that the first thing we get up. We wake up and we shield ourselves from all of that and not allow anything or anyone to control our destiny.
yes.
If there is destiny, we should be the driver. You can call destiny your car if you like. Just make it a really cool looking car. Make it whatever color you like.
I like it pink.
There you go. A pink, hot, beautiful, powerful car. But every day we do have that choice. We have a choice to wake up in a way that it's not about us. It's about not us when I say me, but us, you and me. Because I'm very selfish, by the way. But I take my selfish time when I'm alone. And
Mm,
then when I'm with other people, I am no longer selfish. It's about serving. How can I help? What can I do? Put me to work, put me to do something. And people are like, oh no, you're my guest. I'm like, yeah, but I don't want to sit here and do this with my fingers. I want to use my hands. They're a gift. Help me. Can I wash the dishes or can I do this? Can I move this?
right,
Don't do, can I cut some onions? Whatever you need me to do. If I come over, I'm there. If
right,
I go to an event, you need more chairs here. You need me to hand out things, whatever. And yeah, but we're paying you to do this. I'm like, they're paying me to be a speaker, but that doesn't mean I stop serving just because I'm speaking.
right. Uh-huh.
If I can use me as a human being, as a machine, use me. So I over deliver when somebody hires me to be a speaker at their event because I'm not just a speaker.
And Sifu, that's what
I'm a
makes you.
gift, like you are a gift.
Oh, appreciate, thank you. And Sifu, that's what makes you such a remarkable individual. That's what makes you who you are today. There's such an amazing person. You have such an amazing heart, such an amazing soul that you never stop. You never stop serving, even though you're a global speaker and you're speaking at events, but yet you still want to serve. And that says so much about you. And I'm just, so honored to have known you, but the individual who you are is such an amazing human being, and your heart is just so pure that you just, you can't help it.
Mm.
You just want to serve, and that is so beautiful. I love
Thank
that.
you. Thank you. Yeah.
And so,
W- w-
Sifa, so I want to touch upon what we just spoke about, pertaining to your martial arts background. We talked about the discipline, what is required, it's that mind body connection. And our viewers who perhaps they want to get into martial arts, what is that one discipline that perhaps they need to do with Tai Chi, Kung Fu? There are just so many Jiu-Jitsu. What Share with us, what are the steps perhaps that anyone who's listening who wants to get into the martial arts, what's that first step that they need to do? Do they need to have the experience, or what happens? How did you get started?
I stepped into it by luck. But
Uh-huh.
for anybody who's listening, who's an adult or even who has kids, I always encourage people to interview. Interview
Interview.
if you're going to go to an instructor and say, how are your classes? Can I watch a class or can I participate in a class? Even before you sign up. Showing up is number one.
Mhm.
You can't do anything unless you're present. So you need to be in the presence of training. You need to go to a martial arts school. But not every, and like I said before, not every martial arts school is created the same. Some are there just because they want your money.
Mhm.
I'm not about that. When I first started, I was like, yeah, I want to build it and I'll have some. But then I said, wait a minute, what am I doing? I'm not serving anybody. I'm just taking their money. I always taught great classes, don't get me wrong. I
Right.
always believed in what I taught, but then I changed it. And I said, not everybody who's coming to me even wants to be here.
Right.
They think they want to be.
Mhm.
I only want the ones that really want to be here, that want to have the experience that I can give them. So I do a one free class, no strings attached. And then I'm probably crazy. I let them try 1 month with no commitment whatsoever, unlimited classes, come as often as you like. And I even include a free uniform, and it's ridiculously low price. It's only $129 for the month. And people are like, are you crazy? The uniform costs $60. And and I'm like, it's not about that. Also, I'm not a child care service. So if somebody brings their kids, the parents have to remain. They have to be there. They have to watch. They have to participate. And I
Mhm.
don't put the parents behind a window. The parents are in the same room with the kids.
All
I have
right.
chairs for the parents. And then I tell the kids, go work with your parents because now we're teaching the parents how to do the moves. Because when they go back home, now they're helping their kids. They have someone to practice with. What winds up happening is the parents go, excuse me, yes, you have classes for me? Absolutely. So now I'm capturing their attention because now they want to do what their kids are doing. And
Right.
now what happens is there's this deeper connection than if the parents were on a soccer field, right? So many parents on a baseball field, anything. The parents are behind the scenery.
Right.
They're not involved. Yes, a parent can throw a catch with their kid, but they're not playing the game. With us, the parents are there. I have little kids sparring, I start them at 5 years old, 4 years old. They may be sparring, and the parents are there. I tell them how to block, tell them to kick, tell them to do all these things. So the parents are involved in their child's growth. And
Mhm.
then when I give them a stripe, they get 8 stripes. Then they turn around and they go, "What stripe was that?" They write it in their book. So it's about engaging every member
Mhm.
into what they're doing. So if you're looking to go to a great school, find out what the philosophy is of the school. What do the parents think? What do the other members if you're an adult? Do you want to be in a class with kids? I don't. If I'm an adult, I don't want to be there with a 10-year-old or 8-year-old. Are they going to spar with me? I don't think so. So make
Mhm.
sure that when you go, I have separate classes for teens. I have separate classes for adults. I have separate classes even between kids. Between 4 and 6 is one class. Between 7 and 10 is a different class. Then I have preteen classes because we all understand things differently. So
100%. Yes.
do your homework before you start anything.
Exactly. And also, I think the culture perhaps could be equally important. What is the culture of that studio? What's the culture, um, of any environment that you're in business and organizations? What is that culture? What does it look like? Because you're going to be there, you're there every single day. If it's an organization, you're there every single day. If you go for an interview, you don't like the culture, you don't like how do people interact with one another, then likelihood you're not going to stay there. So I would say the culture that you have created, uh, it is so beautiful. And so I just want to segue into talking about your feelings, but your mindset, because your feeling and your mindset, especially as an instructor, and you have your students, with all ages that you teach. So feeling mindset, would you say, seafood, your feelings and your mindset is connected? Would you say your feelings are connected through your thinking, or does your thinking reinforce how you feel?
Yeah, I think they're very connected.
They're very connected.
uh, we're really talking about, if you want to break it in different ways, emotions, right?
Yes.
Anger, stress, fear, nerves. But when we can align our intentions, we can get control of
Mhm.
anger. We can get control of anxiety. We can develop the self esteem that's needed. And whether it's in martial arts or leadership or in business or public speaking, the more you do it, the more confidence you get. One of
Yes.
the things that I tell, whether you're going to be a public, whether I'm helping you get on a stage or I'm helping you deliver your presentation to a corporation or so forth, because I help people in all different areas. Right now, I'm working with a young man who wants to present. He's got to do a presentation for about 300 people, and he is nervous, and he's so I said, let's calm down. Let's evaluate what you're doing, how you're doing it, the way you're presenting. And
Right.
I also let him know that less is more, because he was going to show slides and he was going to read word for word. And I'm like, I said, would you like it if I did that to you? He goes,
Mm.
I go, so in other words, when a presenter reads word for word, and I've been in those rooms, and I wanted to go and go, stop. We know how to read. You're
Right.
telling me I can't read what you just put up there? I can't read it? And you got to read it word for word, and it's, 60 words on a slide, or, 100 or 300 words, and the words are this little, and you're going to read everything, and I'm going to sit there. I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, that is such a terrible way to do it. So I'm teaching them less is more, especially when you present. And I said a picture is worth more than 1,000 words. Like the picture behind you, right? You're crossing your arms, you look confident, you're smiling. I love that image of you, because you even say, ask the expert. And that right there, I got you. I got you covered. So come ask me anything you want. And when we can help create all the emotions about our intentions, we can bring it all together. So wherever you are in your life, your emotions have to come in check. If
Mhm.
you're angry, and this is where Sifu's mind body method really kicks in, because a lot of people use their emotions as an excuse. I'm an emotional eater. I eat when I'm mad. I eat when I'm tired. I eat when whatever. Excuses, excuses. What
Mhm.
really is happening is that we're not connecting or listening to the emotion at hand. If I say I eat when I'm angry, is because you don't want to face the anger. Why are you angry?
Wow. Mhm.
What's the emotion behind it? If I eat when I'm mad, I eat when I'm tired. Why are you tired? Maybe you need to sleep better. Maybe you need to hydrate. Maybe you need these different things. Maybe you got to check everything. It's not
Mhm.
one thing. That's why I created 7 pillars to show that it's not one. One is good, but together they set up your livelihood, your lifestyle. I don't believe in diets, especially the ones that say you're going to lose weight right away. Guess what? What's the word lose mean? You need to go find it again. So you lose weight, you go look for it afterwards. How about get rid of it, throw it away,
Mhm.
donate it? Right? This is one of my coaches in Sifu's Mind Body Method. She had a conversation with everybody in it, and she was telling everybody, "Don't lose weight, donate it." I was like, I love that. I'm going to steal that from her. She's amazing, right? Nikki Ganjemi, she's a powerhouse. And when we can think about, don't be afraid of the emotions that go through you,
Mhm.
but face them head on. If I have fear, that's an emotion. Why am I scared? Am I scared because I don't know what's coming?
Mhm.
I don't know what's behind the gate or behind the door? You will only find out once you go through it. Once you
Yeah.
knock on the door, somebody opens it, and it may be nothing. Anger. Why am I angry? And I had a client recently said, so and so made me do this. I'm like, wait a minute. How did they make you do it?
Mhm.
Well, they were saying, I said, so you mean you listened to what they were telling you to do and you followed their instruction?
Right. Well,
But it's your choice to not listen to that
yes.
which you didn't want to do. And don't
Mhm.
blame anyone else for your actions. And that was my lesson to him. I said, don't blame anybody else for your actions. You're the one responsible, right? If somebody says, hey, you know what? Go break that window. And I go, okay, great idea. I go break the window and I get caught. Is he going to get in trouble? Or is she going to get in trouble? No, I will. Oh, look at that. I got some weird stuff happening on my end. I'm sorry about that. Um, I guess I got excited, right?
You did.
When we look, I'm getting emotional here, right? Why do we cry? And men are told they should not cry because it's not manly. No, let your emotions be what they need to be. Sometimes we need to let that emotion come in.
Mhm.
We are afraid to tell another man that I love you. Women do it all the time. Why are we men afraid of telling another man? Because, hey, maybe I don't like men, I love women, but why should I why should I even tell another man I love him? Well, because it's a platonic love. It's not a physical type of love. It's not
Mhm.
because I think he's attractive. Maybe he is, but not to me because I prefer women. Or if you're a woman and you prefer men, it doesn't hurt for you to say, I love you to another person. Think of what my client said to me about what if we didn't have these bodies?
Right.
What
Mm-hmm.
if we were not male or female, but we were just beings? How would we treat one another? So love should be about that, not the physical aspect of it, but the emotional aspect of it. So emotions,
Mm-hmm.
we need to learn to hold on to them and understand what they're doing to us physically. So many people are terrified of public speaking. You're a professional public speaker. You've spoken all over the world, and you probably see different people. They're so nervous, they're sweating, their armpits, everything. They can't even, they don't know what to do with their hands. They put them in their pockets, they cross their arms. And one of the things I teach people is like, let's get that out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
What are you afraid of? Let's stand on the stage, start talking. All of a sudden, the hands are like they're doing this. They put it, and let's relax.
Mm-hmm.
You're sweating, right? Are you working out right now? No, you're not working out. Why are you sweating? Oh, I'm so nervous. I'm like, okay, so why don't we do something first to get rid of those nerves? Maybe do some jumping jacks, maybe do some push ups, do something that's going to make you sweat. And what you're going to look for afterwards
Right.
is a nice cold drink, calm you down. Have that drink, and then you can speak. And I tell everybody, don't be afraid to bring a bottle of water or a container like this on stage with you. If you're nervous, instead of saying, take a drink.
Yeah.
That's a pause. So it's everything that we have to do to understand who we are. We are a gift. Alka, you, my friend, great gift.
Thank you so much, Sifu. Well, you're the master, so I lead by your
Right.
example. Sifu, you touched on communication, and this is what I'm just going to segue into what you brilliantly just said. Communication. Communication is both an art and a skill, and you are teaching individuals to master their communication skills. And it's interesting, I saw an interview and they talked about, you know, yes, it's a skill, but it's not about what you know. And it was interesting, it was fascinating, but it's how do you present yourself? And it's all about the presentation. If you could be you could have a great topic as to what you're talking about, but it's all in the presentation. Could you highlight that that point about the presentation that really matters the most and not the skill that you have?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's, I think everybody should ask themselves, when I walk into a room, what do I think about myself?
Mm, mhm.
What does the other people think about me? And then have that
Yeah.
confidence in yourself. You, I don't ever recommend anybody get on any stage when it comes to public speaking without practicing, without understanding breath work, because breath is important, without understanding pauses, without understanding storytelling.
Mhm.
Every aspect of public speaking involves stories. When you come home and you talk to your partner or you talk to your kids and you want to know about their day or they want to know about your day, you don't just give them an itinerary. I did this at 25. Da, 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 da. You kind of tell them, oh, yeah, I met Sally and da, 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 da. And then you get into a story and you get excited and you can tell how it made you feel. And when you can get into a situation, it's about the confidence of speaking as if you were speaking to your friend, your good
Yeah.
friend, the love of your life, your children. But if you lack the confidence, it's going to show. If you haven't practiced that speech, it's going to show. And when we think word for word, that's going to show too. Because if you miss one word, you're going to go, oh, you're going to start stumbling and you're going to fall
Yeah.
down. So it's about a topic, an agenda. And when we can consider walking into a room, the most important thing you have to remember that it's not about you.
Mm.
It's about the impact you're going to generate for those people who came to see you speak. Whether it's on a podcast like this, whether it's on a stage, a virtual stage, whether it's a one on one, what's the impact that you and I can have on each other? And I
Mhm.
don't want it just to be me on you. I want you to give me some stuff like you have today, because it has to be a two-way communication. When
Right.
I'm on a public stage, I'm not just talking at them. I ask questions. Who here feels this way? Oh, I felt that way. Can you tell me more about how you feel?
Yeah.
And it's that engagement that people go, he cares.
Yes.
She cares. It's engagement is truly what makes you more. It's getting out of your own head and getting into the space that you speak.
Absolutely. And when I'm preparing for a speech, I'm always practicing looking at the phone. I have my phone on the tripod and I'm talking to the phone like I'm talking to a friend, like I said.
Right.
So find techniques that really help you. So that's just my go-to. This is what I do. I'm just talking to the phone like I'm just, talking at a stage in front of, hundreds of people. But I think it's important to find what is your technique, but practice. Absolutely. We need to do that. Sifu, what drives you today? What has driven you to your success? Curious to know.
God has.
Yeah.
Because I asked him today, this morning, to guide me, to
Mhm.
give me the right words in everything I've done. I taught a course earlier this morning, then I taught several classes. I taught some leaders. And for me, it wasn't what I needed to tell them. It was what they needed to hear. And so it wasn't about me. And sometimes, especially when I'm teaching a bunch of leaders, I can walk into a room, I can have an agenda, and it changes based on their activity, how they're acting or reacting. And
Mhm.
I'll change full circle, and it'll be what they needed, not what I thought they needed. So that's where listening and paying attention and fully being present comes in. Because if I'm out there and oh yeah, or I'm just like this focused, I'm only looking at one person, I'm missing everybody else.
Yes.
If I'm trying to sell to a couple, whatever it is, let's say I'm going to sell a couple a car, and the gentleman comes in as he's a car guy and all this, and I don't talk to his wife or his girlfriend or whoever she is. I don't even know who she is until I ask, is this, hi, how are you? I'm Rafael, and who is this? And oh, pleasure to meet you. I get to know their relationship right off the bat because that's important to me. Oh, this is my sister. I don't want to assume that's your wife or that's your girlfriend
Mhm.
or that's your cousin. I don't want to assume that. I say, how are you? How do you guys know each other? Now, and she'll go, oh, I'm just here to, be with him. He's the one buying the car. Or he'll say, I'm just here to help her. She's buying the car. I don't dismiss one from the other. I treat them equal
Mhm.
because she may be buying the car. but he's going to tell her, don't buy that car. Or she's going to tell him, oh, I don't know, that's expensive.
Mhm.
Meanwhile, she doesn't know that he came to buy that expensive car.
Right.
She
Mhm.
just found out that, yeah, she would never buy that car for herself,
Mhm.
but he's willing to spend $50,000 more than she would ever spend. But she doesn't know that. So, in a way, I have to educate her in the process and say, wow, let me ask you, when was the last time you made such a big purchase?
Right. Yeah.
So, all of a sudden, he'll tell me, oh, I bought a car similar to this one. All of a sudden, in her head, she goes, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
But it's getting to know your audience, whether it's an audience of one or audience of thousands. So a lot of times before an event, I will go if I'm speaking at an event, I'll talk to the people. I'll even talk to the people who worked at the event. People like, oh, that guy's just working. I go, great. I want to go talk to him or
Mhm.
her, right? Because I'll say, hey, how you doing? How long you been working for this company? How's it going? What
Right.
do you think about it? What's your biggest takeaway? So I will get into that topic because they'll give me information I would never have gotten from the person hosting.
That is so true. And I was, someone also once told me that, it doesn't matter what rooms you want to get into, you have to know, it's not to get to know the speakers, but it's to get to know the people who work there, right? And if you want to be in those rooms, as an example, Tony Robbins. But if you want to be in those rooms, you got to know the people who actually work there, who can give you that information so that you can just give out a bottle of water. And then that's your go-to. That's, what makes you, so that you become familiar what's happening in those kind of rooms. Would you agree that's what people need to do? If you want to get into bigger rooms, you want to get into know the speakers at those events.
Let me tell you what happened at two recent events I went to. I was not a speaker. I went
Yeah.
to support the people there. And I'm sitting and people kept saying to me, when are you speaking? I want to take notes. I'm like, well, I'm not speaking. I said, I
Mhm.
don't think they know I'm a speaker.
Right.
Oh my gosh, you would be amazing up there. I said, oh, thank you. But it happened at two different events. And it wasn't just one person, it was a bunch of people who said to me, when are you speaking? I'm like, I'm speaking to you now. So that I didn't take away like, oh, I'm only good enough if I'm on stage.
Yeah.
Don't mistake our conversation for a bad one.
Right.
Just because I didn't get on that stage today, that
Mhm.
doesn't mean that we can't connect. We can't have a great time. At the last event that I went to, all the speakers before I left gave me huge hugs.
That's
Okay. I
amazing.
was there supporting them.
Right.
And one of them said, I can't believe you came to this event. And I drove like 9 miles, 9 miles, 9 hours. Actually, it was in Canada. And I wasn't speaking there. And one of them said, I am so impressed that you came here. I said, I'm impressed that you're speaking today. Thank you for speaking. So I didn't want to take anything away from them, right? But I also didn't want to say, hey, I'm better than you or this. No, it's not about that. It's
Mm.
about supporting each other. So
Yeah.
if I know that you're at an event and I can come and support you, let me know. I would love to come.
That is so beautiful. And I love that. And I want to segue to your principles. I know the success that you've had or the multiple businesses that you have, the speaking prowess, you have your martial arts school. And I want to know as to the principles that have taught you way back when and the principles that have applied to this day to your success. Can you share with us how those principles shaped you in your journey today of leading other people?
Consistency is one. I know a lot of people can set their clocks by me.
Mhm.
Second, I believe, is not only saying you're going to do something, but actually do it and do
Yeah.
it better than you said you were going to do it. And
Mhm.
that is what has made people rely on me, trust in me. So you build trust by continually showing up better than they expected you to do that. Doing more for my clients because guess what? They're going to refer someone
Yeah.
because of the way I treated them. I treated them with white glove service. I treat them and give them more than they ever expected. And it's not, somebody said to me recently, you know, this person wants more than you. Actually, somebody recently stole something. And they said, oh, we can go back to the video. I said, no, I don't need to go back to the video. Well, aren't you upset? I said, no. I said, obviously, they needed it more than we did. I'm okay
Mhm.
with that. I said, if that's the kind of person they are, I'm not going to change them. It's not up to me. And they still don't understand it because most people would be angry. Somebody stole from you, whatever.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know who the person was.
Mhm.
And they're like, well, you shouldn't put that there like that. I said, I got to believe and trust in people that the
Mhm.
best of them will come forward. And I'm okay. If they stole, they obviously needed more than I did. And I'm okay with it. And sometimes that's a hard pill for some people to be. And people will get angry. How dare you? Da, da, da.
Yeah.
But guess what? Forgiveness is one of the things I learned very early on. When I forgive, I don't harp on the negatives.
Mhm.
I I focus on the positive. What if I forgive you and you became a better person from it? That doesn't mean I may, if I forgive you because you did something really bad to me, I'm not going to be dumb enough to continue being in that presence. Maybe we have to separate, but I forgive you. I don't think about it. I don't call you up or bring it back to your face. So I don't do that. I'm not that kind of person. And that's why God has guided me to be the best version of me I can be.
Mhm.
And I have to believe that we all have goodness in us. Even somebody who's in jail right now who may have done the wrong thing at one point, the most craziest criminal in the world, they were a baby and had this cute little smile and this little laugh.
Mhm.
I got to think that we're all capable of beauty, of intelligence to know what's wrong or right and do the right thing. Some people choose not to. And this is why we live in this crazy world.
Well, like you had stated that in the beginning, we all have choices and it all comes down to our perspectives. Do we, what do we want to see? How do we want to see in individuals, good or bad? So it comes down to our perspectives. Sifu, this has been such a phenomenal, powerful conversation. I am so glad that you're here. I'm so glad that we could have this conversation. Your final question. Can you share with us your three principles, your three lessons that have taught you to be the amazing person you are today? What are the three life lessons that our audience can take away?
Winners never quit. That's first and foremost. If I would have quit when I had polio and felt bad for myself, I wouldn't have fought to walk again, eventually run, be one of the fastest kids on my block, and be able to do full splits today and kick over my head and all these crazy things. So quitting is not an option. So winners never quit. Second, reliability. Be reliable. If you say you're going to do something, do it. And if you can do it better than you expected, even for yourself, surprise yourself. Say, wow, I did a better job than I even thought I could do. Do that. And third, it's not about the money. It's about the impact. It's how I can leave this world a better place, how I can help somebody become better than they ever thought they could be. So many people are walking around out there thinking, I'm no good, I'm not worthy, I'm not this. Cut that out, people. You're God's gift. Share your talents. Learn your talents. You may not be good yet, but you keep going. You're going to
Mhm.
become great. Those are that.
Absolutely. And that is so powerful, Sifu. Thank you so much for sharing such great nuggets right there. Where can people find you and how can we support you best?
Oh, I appreciate that. I'm all over social media. Look up Sifu Rafael, Sifu, Rafael, Rafael, and on social media. And believe it or not, if you put a .com at the end of that, that's my website. So it's simple and easy to find.
Okay, amazing. And you mentioned your program in the beginning. So we will can you mention your program again? So we'll put that in the show notes.
I appreciate that. It's called Sifu's Mind Body Method. And it's simple enough if you go to my website, /SMBM. So you want to put www.sifurafael.com /SMBM. And it's an incredible program. And the reason I created it is because so many of my clients have benefited from it. But I wanted to bring it to the masses. And
Right.
because so many people see what I've been doing, I said, I got to share it more. That's why.
Well, it's amazing, and I'm so glad you did. I'm so glad it's helping and it's going to help so many people. Well, Sifu, first of all, I want to acknowledge you. Thank you so much for coming on. This has been such an amazing and powerful conversation, and we want to thank you, the audience, for tuning into the show. Thank you so much for tuning in and week out to listen, learn, and grow. We have brought Sifu Rafael to the show today, and we will continue to bring on amazing entrepreneurs to the show to give you value. And remember, as Sifu has said, do not quit. Doesn't matter what goals you have, goals and dreams that you have today. It does not matter if you do not accomplish them, but just do not quit. And it's about being integral. It's about being truth to yourself. It's about being authentic. And when you can say what you do and people say to you, oh, what are you doing? And if you can keep to your words, that is most important. So that's what Sifu has said, to be integral and do not quit. So we do not want you to quit on your goals and dreams. But thank you so much to each and every one of you for tuning into to the show, and stay tuned for the next episode of Ask the Experts. Bye for now. Thank you so much, Sifu. That was amazing.
Thank you.